It was a moonless night when Sarah found herself driving along the desolate stretch of road known as Devil's Pass. The faded signs warned of danger, but she was too tired to care. As the car's headlights pierced through the darkness, she felt a chill creep into the air, the kind that whispered of long-forgotten secrets. As she drove, the dense woods closed in around her, their twisted branches reaching out like skeletal hands. Sarah turned up the music, hoping to drown out the uneasy feeling settling in her stomach. It was then she noticed something in the rearview mirror, a figure standing at the edge of the road. It was a woman dressed in tattered white, her hair hanging in matted strands. Sarah's heart raced, but she brushed it off as a trick of the night. Suddenly, the car sputtered and jerked. The engine died, plunging her into silence. Panic set in as she tried to restart the car. No luck. She was alone, surrounded by the oppressive darkness. The only sound was the rustling of leaves and her own heartbeat pounding in her ears. Gathering her courage, she stepped out of the car, the cold air wrapping around her like a shroud. The woman was gone, but Sarah felt a presence. The forest seemed to close in tighter, shadows shifting unnaturally. With no cell service, she began to walk, hoping to find help. As she ventured deeper into the woods, the atmosphere grew heavier. A distant whisper echoed through the trees, an unintelligible chant that made her skin crawl. Suddenly, she spotted a flickering light in the distance. Relief surged through her as she hurried toward it, the hope of safety propelling her forward. When she reached the source of the light, her heart sank. It was an old, decrepit cabin, its windows cracked and dark. Hesitantly, she approached, but the door creaked open on its own. With no other options, she stepped inside. The air was thick with dust and decay, the wooden beams sagging as if burdened by the weight of untold stories. The flickering light came from a single candle on a rickety table, illuminating a series of photographs scattered across the surface. Each image showed a woman, some looking familiar, others with haunting expressions of despair. Sarah's breath caught in her throat as she recognized the woman from the road. The images seemed to vibrate with energy, the faces almost alive, begging for release. A sudden crash echoed behind her. Sarah spun around, her heart racing. The door slammed shut, locking her in. Panic surged through her veins as she pounded on the door, screaming for help. But the cabin was swallowed by the forest's silence. The whispering grew louder, now accompanied by soft footsteps. Sarah backed away, her eyes darting around the room. From the shadows emerged the woman in white, her face twisted in a grotesque smile, eyes hollow and dark. "Join us," she whispered, her voice echoing like a chorus of lost souls. Sarah turned to flee, but the shadows writhed around her, blocking her escape. The walls seemed to pulse, alive with the energy of countless trapped spirits. As the woman reached out, Sarah felt icy fingers brush against her arm. In that moment, a flood of memories crashed over her. Images of her own face, trapped in a never-ending cycle of fear. She realized the truth. The woman was not just a victim. She was a keeper of the road's deadly secret. In a final desperate attempt, Sarah lunged for the window, but it shattered under her weight. Glass rained down as she fell into the night, the forest welcoming her like an old friend. But the whispering followed her, promising that no matter how far she ran, the deadly road would always find its way back. Months later, a new sign appeared at the entrance of Devil's Pass. "Travel at your own risk." It stood as a warning, but those who passed never noticed the flickering light in the old cabin or the chilling whispers that carried on the wind. And every so often, another driver would disappear into the night, becoming part of the road's dark history.